Hey everybody, we are Informed and Confused. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bobby.
And today we are doing the World of Remnant video for RWBY on Aura and the Volume 2 finale, Chapter 12, Breach. Last time we left off, we had some fights on a train crash.
Yep.
Grim attacking the city.
Dog got turned into a comet.
That's why it was awesome, yes.
Okay, so that's like Fight Club. We don't need to talk about it.
I am now imagining like that scene from Fight Club, only it's Zwei.
It's all
barking out.
It's just all Yorkies.
The first rule of Fight Club is do not talk about Fight Club. And it's just a room full of corgis.
The first rule of Fight Club is do not bark about Fight Club.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just get into it, shall we?
It reminds me of like SVSU. Bum bum.
Huntsmen are widely regarded as the world's greatest warriors.
Is that supposed to be somebody in particular?
While skilled in a wide variety
with a red hood
and hand-to-hand combat. These champions are also masters of a much greater power. Aura.
What an interesting
Aura is a manifestation
trio to
of
pick.
the soul. A life force that runs through every living creature on Remnant, whether they are a meager shopkeep or a renowned knight. However, what sets true warriors apart from all others is their ability to amplify and control their
So
aura.
they said all living things have
Aura
aura.
is primarily used
And then they went,
as a defensive
examples
mechanism,
are a
passively
shopkeep
coating
or a
the wielder
knight.
in a protective force field.
Well, the
It can
difference
protect a
between a
combatant from what
shopkeep
would
and a
normally be a
knight.
fatal blow. It does not, however, make the user invincible. As they receive more and more damage, their aura reserve will deplete. If this happens, all the fighter will be left with is his resolve. Fortunately, when a fight turns gruesome, a warrior can also rely on their aura in a different manner. Semblance is a term used to describe the projection of aura into a more tangible form. For some, this could be the ability to control objects with telekinesis. For others, it could mean superhuman strength. The power associated with a wielder's semblance is completely unique. With enough training and focus, a user's aura can turn them into something much more than just a man.
Is his semblance like Coco?
Yeah, I really got to figure out how to fix that problem.
You'll learn more about Ozpin in the future.
Ozpin
we
probably
got
lost
all the
his
thumbnails.
semblance, or doesn't have the ability to produce an aura or something like that. He's handy capable in some way. Because they put a weird level of more than just a man. And then they...
I mean, no, they were definitely pointing to Ozpin when they, as a wink and a nod when they said that. They're clearly hinting that something is going on with Ozpin, but did you really think
You'll
there wasn't
learn more
something going on with
about that
Ozpin
later.
already? I mean, given the nature of the character, he is very much the Dumbledore type character.
I get it. His semblance. He turns into an annoying black and white corgi.
That's the secret all along.
Why is secretly Ozpin? I don't believe we've ever actually seen the two of them on screen together before.
Think about it. The shape of his head. Why? His glasses are very crinkled. Why? Because when he transforms, he gets that wide-eyed look. They barely fit on the sides of my head. Dog face.
Go back in there, and there's actually a scene real quick in there where you actually see Zwei with a pair of glasses
Well,
on.
him and Dr.
Ooblik?
were on a team together. Or no, were they? Were they on a team together?
You brought that idea up, and you've kind of run with it. No one.
I was saying Ooblik before. I meant that general. The other.
Yeah,
the other dude.
Ironwood,
you were
yeah.
talking about
was
Ironwood.
saying Ironwood.
and Ozpin
We've
being
never
on a
heard
team
anything
together.
about any of the teachers being on a team together.
Yeah, well, that's my guess because
Yeah, no, that's always that's your
Previous
theory.
generations of fighters, right?
No,
Yeah.
not just the previous
you-
generations of fighters, but the fact that he's like, well, I can't believe I followed him.
Because
Yeah.
of how close they are.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming they have a very similar.
Dynamic.
Yeah, like there's a breakdown that's very similar to all of the other teams that we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ironwood, Ozpin, and Glenda seem to be close.
They have history. They clearly know each other and have something going on above and beyond just being teachers.
In a past sort of way.
Yeah. All right, yeah. As far as the
Yeah,
video, it's pretty.
I actually think that so far that was the most uninformative of all of them in hindsight.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much all stuff you've already learned through watching
Yeah.
the show up to this point.
I believe that one is. Well, for one thing, I'm pretty sure this one didn't actually air on the channel or on the website originally. I believe this one was actually originally on the Volume 2 DVD. Originally, it was the only way you could get it. But yeah, I think the idea of this one is more. It's a matter of the information about Aura and Semblance is kind of scattered through, and it's kind of stuff you have to piece together a little bit, but based on just what you've seen. So this is the one spot where it's all put into one, one place where it's just clearly spelled out, defined. No.
In case you missed it during the show, we're going to put it out there for you.
No one. So you're not misunderstanding what's going on. There's no nothing. You're not leaving stuff open to interpretation. You're just clearly defining
The
it.
fact that we overly discuss all of this means that we've already talked about every single point that
Yeah.
video
Yeah,
brought
because
up.
we've discussed a number of points that they've brought up before, back
Right.
and forth over whether it is or is not this or whatever. So, but yeah, so that is that one. Which is the
You
that is the
did
last
get
one.
a visual representation of all four of their main semblances, though, which was kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I do like the art in these. The art in these is cool, generally speaking.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the way South Park originally was, where it was cutouts pasted over on various
Yeah.
levels, and it was all
just-
still frames, slightly moving. And
Yeah, the simplified 2D.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a really cool art style.
All right, let's switch on over to season finale. Breach.
Bum 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 bum
There's a
bum
point where
bum.
it tips, there's a point where it breaks, there's a point where it bends, and a point we just can't take anymore.
Yeah. Look behind Blake. I think they're Maple Leafs.
Oh, Blake?
Or not. Who did I say? Yang, right?
What? You said Pyrrha.
Or just look behind them all. I don't remember which one I said.
Oh, Pyrrha.
Pyrrha.
There, yeah. Yeah, I guess it does kind of look like Leafs. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Maple Leafs.
That is something I have never noticed before. Did I?
Okay. So Cinder is, I think, might be Ruby's something, and that other lady is Yang's mom.
What? Hello? Ruby?
I'm sure they're fine.
You think?
Probably a butt dial.
Team RWBY has always performed exceptionally in the field. We should be focusing on our own mission.
We're gonna be deputies!
I just got this feeling. I don't know.
Jean.
Well, I guess now you guys are going to start listening to Jean when he
Changing
says
our
he
mission.
has a
Everyone on
feeling.
board.
Man, they're having a lot of fun with how fluid her hair is, and his.
We'll make it out to that village another time. Take us into the city.
You don't think
Sure looks like it.
that's still days away?
So, what do we do?
Ah, so they have the most negative emotions.
Well, they are just kind of right there in the middle of it. So
How many people do you saw? Or do you think they saw get eaten?
Non-zero amount.
yep.
Oh, that can't be good for the blade.
Remember how hard it was at the beginning of the year for them to take down even one?
Hey, that's my line.
I do like that. Reaction.
Okay, who's first?
You asked for it. Hey, this is
Yep.
this is kind of like what would happen if he were to go to prison. He would attract a really big bear that would scream at him.
You're first, huh?
Oh no, you're first.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I also think that this gives a lot of say to her actual fighting ability, because not everyone or everything she fights is metal.
Done this before.
Yeah.
This before.
She can still fight even without the advantage of the sunlight.
And we'll work through all of those issues, buddy. He's only asleep.
Nobody move! Junior detectives! We have badges, so you know it's official.
Starsky and Hutch over here.
Right.
God.
So cut. Look at that V. Oh, thanks. The military is scrambling.
Yep.
They're playing their theme song out of Bluetooth speakers outside of the plane. We have to hurry up and make our entrance. Do we look cool? Get information, guys. We have to look cool while these kids take out all the bad guys. You killed one.
You're from the Death Troopers. I mean, the robot guys.
Yep. Elysian Knights.
Yes, that's what they're called.
So effective. It takes 3 of you with non-stop shooting.
To be fair, they're only robots. It's not like
Yeah.
they're hunters.
Oh, look at that. He's fast. I like your weapon so far. Kunai with chain.
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was Penny. Of course it is. Because why
Yep.
the fuck wouldn't it be?
And let me get to see Team Coffee.
Yes.
I'm just naturally this red. Oh, Demon Slayer.
Now watch what he does here, because he's the one of the characters that does that thing that rended the snake. It's quick, but boom. Boom.
So he makes things pop.
I like that. Just
He
smack
projects his
ass.
aura into the grim and causes it to explode. Ren did that to the snake back in Volume 1.
You just destroyed my favorite clothing store.
What, military surplus?
Prepare to die.
Hot topic.
Does her suitcase also turn into a gun? I'm gonna guess it
Also
does.
turns into a
Come
gun.
on, you spent all semester building that up. Don't waste it here.
Atta girl.
Hell yeah. Fucking minigun, man. That's
Swing, 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 swing. To all of you that know what I mean. Swing. Very first thing she does is puts together her favorite clothing store.
see if we can pull it back up. I love that the look on Glinda's face is more annoyed than like scared or determined. She's just pissed off that she has to deal with this right now.
Again, right.
Hey, watch the hat.
Interesting.
What's that?
They showed up with their true faces on, acting like they're just in their villain clothes, doing villain stuff openly.
Well, they apparently survived the train
Well,
explosion.
We did it. We did it.
Don't tweak
If
that,
we
anyways.
don't get extra credit for that, I'm going to be seriously disappointed. Weiss, a two-headed snake literally crushed a bakery. I wouldn't count on it.
Plus, I mean, we didn't solve everything. A lot of people were hurt, and we still don't even know why they did
They
this
didn't
or
really
who
solve
that mystery girl
anything.
was.
Well, not every story has a neat and tidy ending.
We might not have all of the answers, but we do have a lot of dangerous people behind bars. And I think that's something we can be proud of.
Yeah. And if anyone tries something like this again, we'll be there to stop them.
Yay, teamwork, camaraderie, good guys, go team. All right, good job. So, what now?
I'd suggest training for the tournament, but I think we have that covered at this point.
So then...
Time for bed?
Oh, please.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm going to sleep forever.
I will never understand how people can do that. Sit on a ledge like that, way the fuck up high. It scares the
You
shit
have
out of
problems
me.
with heights, don't
Yeah.
you?
Osfin,
Yes, Councilman.
you've left us with no choice. The Vital Festival tournament cannot be broadcast, let alone held, if we are unable to ensure the safety of the citizens. Therefore, we have reached out to the Atlas Council, and together have decided that the best option is to appoint General Ironwood as head of security for the event.
Thank you, Councilman. Our kingdom is happy to lend as many troops as it takes.
You don't
ensure
have
that
troops
this
to lend, you have
event
robots.
goes
Oh, I did it again.
and safely as possible.
And we thank you, General.
Will that be all?
For now. But after this festival comes to a close, we are going to have a serious discussion regarding your position at Beacon Academy. General Ironwood's reports of these last few weeks have left us somewhat concerned. I'm sure you understand.
It's code for we're going to be
This is
firing
the
you.
right move, Ospin. I promise. I will keep our people safe. You have to trust me.
Should never trust a council made of shadow people. They're the only ones left. What happened to the rest of them?
No, there's only one of them. They're all conjoined. That's why they're hiding in the shadow.
I think you saw like 3 outlines
Yeah, there
on
were
that
3
video
people there.
call.
Yeah.
Leave us. I've been informed that so far you've refused to cooperate with the authorities.
I know this might be hard to believe, General, but I'm not the biggest fan of local law enforcement.
How about the world's strongest military power?
First impressions? not great.
I'm going to give you one chance. Who's really behind all of this?
Isn't it obvious? You're looking at him.
Very well then.
What's the matter, General? I thought you wanted to talk.
The Council has given me custody over you for as long as I see fit. So you can make yourself comfortable. I can assure you we'll have plenty of time to talk.
Oh, wonderful.
All in all, I'd call today a success.
Those stupid kids really made a mess of things.
Yeah. A lot of faunus didn't make it out of those tunnels. You still think the White Fang's gonna listen to us? No. But they'll listen to me.
Ominous reveal is ominous.
Deary. Ha.
Yep.
This kind of reminds me of Queen of the Damned.
The song?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Albeit for reasons we won't. This is probably the single most foreshadowing-y, oh my god, I can't believe that's what that meant song in the entire frickin' show.
I might disagree with that, but that's a conversation for later.
Okay.
Mom.
I love the pets that are all listed as security. I love that.
Why are you back, Mom?
Who are you?
I'm you.
Yang. We have a lot to talk about.
You look just like her. All right, so that means that their dad is blonde?
You'll meet him in a couple of volumes.
We'll eventually meet their father.
Wow. So that ending was something.
Yep.
That whole episode is something.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's good.
All right, so let's see. Let's start at the beginning. We started off with kind of a little bit of a flashback towards what Team Juniper were doing while this was all going down.
Yep.
Where John almost got the call from Ruby and gets suspicious.
Which, if you
Because it was a
remember,
drop
Ruby
call.
tries to call him,
Call
and
him.
then the signal cuts
Drops,
out.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
other half of that.
Yeah. So he's worried. which turns out to be justified.
Follow your gut.
The alarm start blaring and going off. One thing about this scene is I'll say is they were going out to, their mission was originally to be like deputies.
Yep, I remember.
Town deputies, and as they get on the plane,
John says something to
John
Ren.
specifically pulls Ren aside and tells him that don't worry, we'll get back out to that village later.
Yep, I heard that. I have no context for it, so I can make the bold assumption it's his village.
Yeah, no, I merely point out the fact that he specifically pulled Ren aside to tell specifically him that statement.
Yep.
That is a noticeable fact. That was the only reason I mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't have...
And you had the theory that maybe that means it was his village.
It's not even my theory. It's just the only thing that... I mean, it's either a village and has no real meaning to Ren. It's just a scene. And they picked a character for Jean to say that to. Or if I had to stretch it off of that entire interaction, it is or isn't Jean's original village.
Follow the trope.
Follow the trope. That's all I got. It's
Okay.
I am pissed in the wind on this one.
Jean or Ren? You said John's
Ren.
village?
No,
Ren's village.
Ren's
Okay, that's what I thought you meant. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Either way, that goes nowhere because, hey, the alarm's going off.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, this I mentioned that's like the first time we've seen anybody interact with Ren on a personal level, like on a level where it's something specific to Ren.
Right.
Well, I mean, Jean has relationship talk with him back before the dance.
Jean attempts to have a relationship talk with him, makes a comment about
Jean
him and
talks
Nora, and,
at him.
Yeah, Jean talks at him.
Yeah.
But
well, even in this, John talked at him. I don't believe Ren actually had a line there.
Yeah, but if Ren's more receptive to having,
but he's mentioning something.
He is a
specific
quiet
about,
guy.
He's. Anyways, then we get the villain. We see the villain see what's happening, and they react to it. And
well, the three villains that are currently disguised as school children.
Yeah,
there's
Cinder
lots
and
of
her
villains
lieutenant.
about.
Well,
Yeah,
but
the
Cinder and her
villain's gonna
lieutenants.
vill.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit hits the fan. Their plan triggers early, and then they make a game time decision to help get all the Grimm out of the city. We'll lay low and just wait for another opening.
She makes a comment about
it's
it's 2 days early.
Yeah, they hold your hand and they walk you through that. But aside from that, they don't really give you anything to speculate as of what their plan is or how they were originally going to use the Grimm overrunning the city. Obviously as a distraction, obviously as a means of separating forces.
Yeah.
But
shit's already started
Yeah, but
to go
then
wrong.
Ruby
with
and
their
them
plan.
found Torchwick down there, and he decided, do the train thing right then. Because the one white fang guy tells Torchwick it's not ready yet, it's not time yet.
Right.
And he tells him just shut
Well,
the fuck
do
up
it
and
anyways.
yeah, we got to go now.
Yeah, because we have been caught. We don't have a choice. This has to happen now. And I will mention we see Emerald and Mercury fight a little bit. Mercury just does more of
Yeah,
his
you
kick
see
thing.
more of their fighting than you've seen.
but
I've
thus
seen
far.
more of Mercury's fighting in cutscenes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we get the big thing is we see Emerald's weapons kind of for the first time.
Yep.
Like you said, the what
Which
do you
still
call them?
doesn't tell me who she could potentially be.
In gun form, they're almost kind of like blunderbussy. They almost look like a cut-off shotgun type
Sawed-off
deal.
shotgun maybe, but it's got... it strikes me almost as like there is a Nerf gun that's very similar in shape to it.
Okay.
The blunderbuss would be the dude he's got like the blunderbuss
Port,
axe.
Yeah, Port, yeah.
No, but and then she's got the what do you call them? The chain size.
They start out
Yeah.
as Sai and then they go and attach it with chain, which is pretty dope.
Yep.
I mean, not as dope
The
as
chain kunai.
Yeah, not
Kunai,
as dope
that's the word I
as
was looking for.
shotgun.
Kunai is a knife.
Yeah.
She's using sickles.
Yeah.
So what would it be like?
Scythe is the two-handed one.
Right.
Sickles are the one-handed ones.
Yeah, unless
And she's just using two of them connected by a chain. I forget the proper name for that setup.
Is it
but
kukri? No, not a kukri. That's a knife.
no, kukri is the wavy
What
knife.
would that be? Well, I'm gonna look that up right now.
Yeah.
Informed for confusion.
Then we get the fight scene, and they proceed to start beating up on some Grim.
Kama. K-A-M-A.
Yeah.
Kama.
It's a farming implement, similar to a sickle.
Yeah, I want to say it's for harvesting rice.
Neat.
Most of those things started as farming implements.
Apparently, when you add the chains to them, though, they become a completely different weapon.
Yeah, makes sense.
The more you know.
But the fights.
Yes, the fights. So Team RWBY start fighting, and then Team Juniper show up, and John takes on another.
John actually did it this time,
and manages to do it by himself.
It's about damn time.
Yeah.
So if you
which
can't,
of course gives Pierre the happies.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's so proud of him.
Sun and Neptune continue to be just.
Continue to be Sun and Neptune.
Yeah.
They're really, really good at hyping up everybody who can actually fight.
Yeah, they do
well,
kind of
the one
serve that
time
role.
we've seen Sun fight, he was pretty fucking effective with his gunchucks.
He was.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm guessing that ammo is really expensive because he hasn't done it since.
Yeah. I will say, in terms of things being difficult, I believe the actual action of the nunchucks is one of the hardest things they've had on the show to animate.
Yeah,
in
no
terms
doubt.
of
That doesn't
the
surprise
choreography.
me with the
When-
the way they move and how fast the animation
When Monty
goes
passed away,
and-
it became something that they took them a very long time to figure out how to replicate that action.
Yeah.
Because it was something he came
that
up
was
with
something
himself.
very specifically Monty.
Monty came up specifically. Yeah, it took a while before they were able to duplicate that. But
And then Team Coffee joins in. Gotta love Team Coffee.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and then the bunny chick, she's apparently got a box of no hold on, wait, let that charge.
Velvet. Yeah,
Yeah, Velvet, yeah.
Yeah, she makes a comment of,
Oh,
no,
she's
you've
supposed
been
to be the-
building it up all semester. Don't
waste
waste
it
it
on
on
this."
this.
She's the Velveteen Rabbit.
I guess that's what you'd call her. Yeah.
One of her character illusions, yes.
All of them have a food related illusion in their name. Coffee, obviously the name.
Coffee.
CFVY is it because it's Coco Adele, Fox Alistair, who's the orange dude.
Right.
Velvet Scarlatina is the bunny girl, and Yatsuhashi Daishi
That's it.
There's the
is
dude with
the
the
big
giant
dude with the
sword.
sword. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's hard to say with how all of their weapons are defined, but it looked like his sword doesn't have a hilt or a grip or handguard.
It does. It's
It
very
looked
small.
It looked like one of those swords where the tang is the hilt,
Well,
where it's just a single piece of metal and the hilt is built into the tang of the blade.
Well,
itself.
yeah, but it looks like a rat tail tang, so it looks like it's a half finished sword.
It also looked very similar to although it was much bigger and differently shaped, like John's weapon, just a sword. It didn't have mechanical bits added on. It didn't look like it transformed into a gun.
It's
was
this
just
giant
a
sword.
big ass fucking
It's
sword.
giant, oversized, physically impossible anime sword.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing is like as big as he frickin' is. No, he shouldn't even be able. In real world physics, he wouldn't even be able to hold it up because it would tip him over.
Two-handed, yes. One-handed, the way he does, no.
Well, no, I mean just holding the blade out because of how massive it is. The center of mass would be out here somewhere. He'd fall over.
Unless it's well
called
balanced.
a great sword, and they were totally used.
Totally balanced. You put the weight of it, the way it's designed specifically is so that
I have one inside. I'll pull it out later, and you
dude,
can
the
swing
physics
around.
behind
It's
these
totally
things are
doable.
insane. They're implements of fucking.
I know
war.
there's such thing as a great sword. That was bigger than an actual great sword.
Yeah, but
it
if
was
you were
definitely wider, but the physics are the same.
I would assume that if let's say
Plus, he was pretty tall and pretty heavily built. I can imagine he could theoretically swing that thing around.
I'm almost tempted to sit here and wait for you to get that blade out here because I believe you guys are completely and utterly wrong on this. But that blade will not be anywhere near as big as what he's got on there if you bring it out here.
length. I would say yes.
Because length is one thing. There are gonna be blades that long, but it's a question of girth.
Size, right there. It just doesn't have the
Is
extra
the blade
wide blade.
Is the blade as wide as the crossguard on that? Does the edges of the blade go out as far as the crossguard on that thing?
Obviously not.
Well, I meant on the, or is that the greatsword you're talking about?
No, I have one inside that's actual metal, but it is essentially the same style.
Yeah, no, that is one thing. When the blade is actually
it's
that
the traditional Scottish style.
Yeah, no.
So
thin blade. Where the blade is as thick as his is, though, that adds way more mass.
True, but think density. If it's light, if it's aluminum,
then a properly balanced blade is a properly balanced blade.
If it weren't that dense, he wouldn't be able to do what it wouldn't have the impact it does.
Aura
is not going to affect that.
What about his essence or his his magic?
His
what
semblance?
if he? Yeah, his semblance. What if he had? What it's
All
funny colored.
If it's semblance, if he has some sort of gravity semblance, that could affect it. That is not his semblance, but we know what all four other semblances are at this point. But and that is not it. But
because the books mostly, I don't remember seeing any of that on actual screen.
The only one whose semblance you see on screen is Velvet's. The others are all defined in the book. And even Velvet's is the kind of thing you like seeing Blake's early on.
Yeah,
you have to intuit it that it's happening. But but we know for sure now what all four of their semblances are based on the books. Anyways,
which I have not read.
Great sword physics aside. You're right. Velvet. So something's going on with that box. Velvet has a weapon in a box that Coco tells her, "You built that up all semester. Don't waste it here." So it's clearly something.
Pandora, don't open your box.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite weapons, absolute favorite weapons, Coco's weapon, the
machine gun.
Yeah, the handbag that's also a fucking minigun. That is just awesome. I love that.
I gotta say, I like the one guy with like the elbow blades and shit.
Fox.
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah.
His blades were kind of cool, and especially the way he, like you pointed out, he amplifies his aura into essentially
grim.
A bullet that he just puts through the grim, and you see it ripple as the aura goes through, and then it blasts back and explodes.
Have you seen the Fantastic Four movies, the ones with Jessica Alba?
Yes.
You know, I believe in the second one, there's a scene where she's like having getting mean discussion with what's his face?
Mr. Fantastic?
No, not Mr. Fantastic. The villain. God, what am I at?
Doom.
Doom. Thank you. God, and she basically makes the point of, I can generate force field. I can generate a force field inside of a person and expand it outward and cause them to explode. There's a line about that.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's doing with his aura.
Oh.
He's pushing his aura into the grim and just causing it to
neat.
burst.
Yeah, I always assumed that was Fox's semblance, was being able to use his aura like that, but apparently it's not.
No, it's a aura technique. It is
Gotcha.
something, but it's very, very difficult. Like him and Ren are the only two in the universe up to this point who've ever been shown to know how to do that. Yeah. One thing I will say, if it's a very quick thing to miss with Fox. If you look at his eyes, they're whited out.
Yep, totally missed that.
Which I believe this is a thing in animation in general as a trope, that a character with whited out eyes means that they are blind.
That is the standard in anime.
Yeah,
yes.
which is in
if they
fact
are
true.
Permanently white-eyed, then they are blind.
Yeah, which is in fact true. He is actually blind.
Oh, I had no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, no. That's one of those little details. Unless you,
do they
watch
ever
it over and over again.
bring it up in further episodes that he's blind?
Not in the show. They don't bring that up in the show.
That's all stuff you get from the extra material.
Yeah, no. Fox of the four, Fox is the one you get the least of in show. In fact, I don't believe he even has a single line of.
I don't think he even shows up after this, other than
He shows
maybe
up,
once
but
in
I
the
don't know if
background.
I don't know if he has dialogue in the scenes that they're in. It's always the other ones talking.
He's not around much.
Because the other ones talk plenty, but Fox is always quiet. There's a reason given for that in the book, actually, why he's so quiet. But
Velvet and Coco are the ones that talk the most out of that crew.
yeah. But so we had that. Then we have Torchwick gets arrested, and he gets handed over by Emerald and Mercury.
Yep.
They hand in their own guy.
Yep.
And then...
I mean, if it's circumstantially, I mean, it's like I said, the episode, it once again, takes your hand and walks you through how the villains are adapting. Torchwick, their plans are clearly foiled because Ruby stumbles across them early. They decide to hold face and lay low, which means
maintain their cover.
As soon as Torchwick gets arrested, Torchwick, who's clearly already a villain, so he knows how it works. Oh, you guys are arresting me. I'll play along. Even when he's in jail, it's always me. It's only me. It has to be me.
And he does not at all seem to be upset about the fact that he's in that prison cell. In fact, he's laughing maniacally about it.
Well, that's just kind of Torchwick.
My guess is it's either something with his hat or something in his clothing that is and or could be a bomb.
So, yeah, he's some sort of ulterior motive.
They did hand him over with his hat, and when you see him in the cell, he's not wearing it.
And he makes it a point to say, don't touch my hat.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is true, yeah. And then we get the bit with Ozpin on the phone with the council in Ironwood, where they are not happy with him.
This is 100% yet another reenactment of a scene out of Harry Potter. Dumbledore and the Ministry of Magic. Oh, you can't have this. You're on probation. We're watching you. Oh, okay. Watch me while my students go save the fucking world.
Yeah. Oh, I know. But, so...
Yeah, our Shadow Council. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be, like, they're shrouded or if they just didn't bother to create characters for them.
They didn't... Basically, they didn't create character models for them, presumably because at that point they didn't know if they were going to actually have actual named characters in those positions yet, that they were going to be part of the narrative later on.
Gotcha.
So they just said, well, just put them in Shadow and then
it's
see
just
what
a
we do
little
with them later on.
odd that all of the rest of the Shadow people were replaced by background characters, even if they're just like color palette swaps of other characters, and they still left those three
They do the same thing in the Avengers.
Yeah. Well,
Nick
they
Fury's-
are purposefully shrouded.
Well, but my point is, when Nick Fury is on with the council at the end of the first Avengers movie, there's voices there, but you can't see any of them. Whereas later on in Winter Soldier, you actually meet the members of the council.
Well, and that's my point, is they are purposefully shrouded there, which makes me wonder if, in this case, are they being purposefully shrouded?
Well, no, because they're not shrouded; they're just silhouettes. The lighting isn't. Admittedly, the lighting in this show at this point is not crazy complex, but
we're still season 2.
Yeah, still season 2, but
they just hadn't developed avatars for their Skype yet, so they're just figures.
Yeah, but so Ozpin is clearly in trouble. Ironwood is telling the council, talking shit about him.
He's tattletaling.
Basically, the council puts.
I've only been
Ironwood
here
in
for a
charge
week,
of the
but
whole
everything
thing.
I see is crazy and confusing and new, so I'm going to complain about it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, kinda.
He's basically presumably is complaining that Ironwood is not being aggressive enough in dealing with things that are going on.
So look at all
which has
this
been his
mess.
point.
Ozpin's not defending everything.
And then this just
country enough.
happened. So it's like, I've been complaining that Ozpin has been aggressive enough in dealing with this situation, and now this happened. So the situation sort of seems to be,
I do appreciate
agreeing
the fact
with
that
Ironwood's position.
I do appreciate the fact that by after the time, 4 teenage girls beat the shit out of a city worth of monsters, the military shows up to save the day.
That was like 12 teenagers.
Well, yeah, I mean, admittedly, it's relatively quick.
It starts with the 4 of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it starts with the 4 because they're on the ground.
Right. But the others join pretty quick.
Yeah, because Juniper shows up, and then Coffee shows up, and Sun and Neptune show up, and Ublik's there, and Port's there.
Technically 16 teenagers. There we go.
And one of those military vessels did in fact actually save Ruby from having an Ursa jumper from behind. So
only because she had turned around to see what the sound in the sky was, which was in fact them coming to save her.
But Yeah, so I mean, and that's that makes sense. Obviously, they were there, that they would respond quickly, and I will say a lot of people don't like this fight because it resolves so quickly. Because they just kind of jump the grim, and the military shows up, and it's over real quick. Everybody was expecting this big, long thing that was going to be.
Well,
this
it's a season finale. You expect a season finale fight.
Well, but my thing is always like in shows where you get a really strong penultimate episode, which was the last episode where we got some really kick-ass fights in that thing. Then what that means is the finale episode is the falling action. You had your peak. The action has climaxed. Now we get the falling action. Now we see the resolution and the fallout. That's what your last episode's going to be. If you've already had,
and there's a fair amount of fallout at the end of this episode.
Yeah, we do definitely get some consequences here, and some new stuff. But yeah, no, that's just my little thing. That always annoys me in any form of media. Where when there's a really strong penultimate episode and then the finale isn't as strong and people bitch they didn't get a kick-ass finale, it's like, were you watching the last episode? That was where all your kick-assery was. Like,
yeah, I think people, with a lot of shows, people have become spoiled with a bang at the end.
The finale idea, yeah.
I mean, because like, Game of Thrones did a lot. Not always, but a lot of times, especially early on, the penultimate episodes were always the big moment.
Flash was always like that. Arrow was always like. I mean, any of the DC TV shows were like that. You spent the whole episode leading up to the big boss fight at the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, I prefer that to necessarily a climax in the finale itself, because you get to see that kind of the fallout of what happened in the big moment.
It unfolds as it goes.
And then you have time narratively to set up whatever's going to happen in the next season. Yeah. You need, All right, anyways, rant done.
Couple more scenes here.
Yeah, we had, let's see.
Which I think next brings us to Yang's scene, right?
We had Osmond on the council, and then we go to Ironwood and back to, that's the Ironwood and Torchwick scene.
Which we already talked about a little bit.
Although I will say there was a line in there that Ironwood said, "Well, we had an audio cutout when this happened, where he's standing there staring out the window before he turns around to the cell, and he says, he kind of sighs and says, Osmond, you brought this on yourself." And then with kind of an ominous music in the background, that just. And then he turns around and goes to talk to Torchwick.
Showing up and then intentionally turning in someone else, going, "Well, you did this to yourself." No.
Yeah.
This is how a police state happens.
Well, also Ironwood the head of a foreign country's military just got himself appointed head of security for a major event in another country. So it's like over Osmond's head.
Well, yeah, but I'm also trying
dick move.
I'm trying to think of it less from like our world politics and thinking if this festival is supposed to join all of them together, I would see it no different than, if we're at the Olympics in Beijing and every major U.S. Navy ship was like, "Don't worry.
We got security for this.
We'll watch the coast." Yeah. Are they going to like it? Hell no. But does that mean it's defended?
Yeah, well, and that's very much a matter of, it's not like there was no invitation or whatever. It's just all of a sudden another country's military shows up and offers to be the security for the Olympics.
This is not a military installation. This is just he's going for a walk, and these are his personal guards.
A whole battalion of them.
Yeah, a whole air fleet.
I'm gonna go take my ship. I'm a boater. I'm gonna take my boat for a nice trip. Just because my boat just so happens to be an implement of war and can take out a nation by itself, doesn't mean that all of my entourage don't need their own boats.
Because going back to something they said in the World of Remnant about kingdoms that we never really fully talked about. When they're talking about militaries, they talk about some countries. Some countries only call upon their citizens when necessary, Others feel the need to be more prepared.
Right.
That's basically hinting at that Atlas is realistically, Atlas is the only country with a standing army, a standing military.
That's obvious.
Yeah, the other countries all just have the huntsmen and local police. Vale does not have a fleet of warships or anything like that.
They count on their huntsmen to defend.
Nor do Mistral or Vacuo, for that matter. Atlas is the only one, which is why he's kind of, he's got that dual role of being head of military and head of the academy, because the others don't have a military to have a head of.
Right. He carries the big hammer.
Yeah. Let's see here. Then we get the end scene with the villains again, where Cinder says she thinks that couldn't have gone much better. She was very, very happy with how this went. Despite the fact that it happened early, she still calls it a success.
Turmoil in the city. There's a displacement of power. She's got a man on the inside of the military installation, which they keep using the red and blue guards pretty regularly, just a pair of them to watch people. So I don't know if it's the same red and blue guard that was watching me earlier.
I imagine that's just standard outfit.
That's just their outfits, yeah.
Well, I've only ever seen a red and blue guy together when they're watching a doorway or they're watching a person.
The red and blue thing is just part of their uniforms.
That's just how the Atlas military dresses.
Yeah, so they now have somebody on the inside who's not incompetent. So, yeah, like I said, yeah, I mean, the villainry is pretty much, they take your hand and go, come on, we're going to show you what we're doing today.
Yeah, well, because it's clear there's a bigger, this was not the end game. There's a bigger scheme going on here. And however this went wrong, obviously it didn't go wrong enough to throw off the grander plan, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then they raised the question of, a lot of those Faunus didn't, those White Fang guys didn't make it out of the tunnel. Clearly not all of them survived the train crash. A bunch of them got arrested. And then Mercury asks, who's the White Fang going to listen to now? And then Adam shows up.
Yep.
Which is the first time we have seen him in the show since the trailer.
Outside of a flashback or anything.
Oh, the trailer, yeah. Which, again, for me, this was the first time I saw him. Like, who the hell is this guy? Because I never saw the trailer.
Dude with a fancy jacket.
Dude with the fancy outfit, the fancy mask, and the sword.
I love the design on the back of his jacket. That
rose,
intricate, really,
rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you notice that?
I didn't get a good look at it.
If you remember back episode 10 of the season when they were having the discussion between the three girls.
Yeah.
And Blake was talking about her thing, and she's looking up at the ceiling, and there was that kind of smoky image on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It was a rose kind of thing.
I know the image. I didn't get a solid look at it.
That's what he's got on the back.
That's his emblem on the back.
Got you.
That's a reference to. So we get that. We get the Adam reveal. He's showing up now, and then we get our end credits scene, which is this thing's interesting. It's Yang. She's just kind of walking along, and
middle of the night, obviously, to judge by the darkened sky.
It's dark. There's kind of chimes sound going.
It looks very much like a dreamscape.
And that's the fountain right in front of Beacon.
Yeah,
I've seen that fountain a lot of times as they go passing by.
Like you said, very, very dreamscape. And she walks up to
Brunette Yang looks at her and goes, "We need to talk."
We have a lot to talk about.
It's funny that you call her Brunette Yang.
I'm glad at the very last minute I said, no, Cinder is with Ruby, and the one that looks like Ruby is with Yang.
Is Yang's mom, yeah. So they certainly do look alike. That is certainly a thing.
Yep.
Well,
and you
what
mentioned,
I understand, the base character model is the same. They just changed all the outward stuff.
If you do in fact look at the character models in detail, it is the same character model except for in the face, anyways, in the hair, except for they changed her eye color, I think, or in the hair color. But
change the eye color, change the hair color,
because Yang's eyes were red.
Well, yeah.
Yang's eyes were red in that scene.
Yeah, because Yang's eyes go from purple to red.
This is more of a orange.
No, it's the same color.
Is it?
Yeah, well, Yang's default eye color is purple.
Right.
They only go red when her semblance.
That's right.
Activates.
That's right.
Whereas the other woman's eyes are just red by default.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have this individual who's clearly related to Yang somehow. She looks just like her, so clearly there's something going on with her.
I don't. I would
and
either.
yang.
It's either going to be, I'm your sister or I'm your mom. I'm leaning towards mom.
Yeah.
There's not enough animosity for.
And we did point out it looks like a dreamscape.
Yep.
And this was kind of a, I don't know, I wouldn't call it controversial. That's the wrong word. This scene kind of went through some loops. This scene is not canon, but canon kind of a thing where originally this scene was supposed to mean one thing. They changed their minds later on down the line, and so now it kind of means something else.
Okay. I guess I'll figure
but
that
basically,
one out.
The talk still happened, though. They had things to talk about.
A dreamscapey conversation thing
between long lost
happened.
Mom, sister, mom, cousin, sister.
Between Yang and this person who saved her life.
Mom.
This happened.
My money's on Mom.
With the awesome Grim-like mask.
Yeah.
It reminds me, this whole Grim, everybody wearing a Grim mask, I was not expecting such heavy bleach overtones.
It does feel like a little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of thin in that a little bit. But
that's mostly, though, when you're dealing with, like, the White Fang.
Yeah, mostly it's the White Fang, and then this individual here clearly is wearing a mask for... do you think she's part of the White Fang?
No.
No? All right. Because she is wearing a Grim mask, but she was also saving Yang from what is ostensibly a White Fang operation.
She was saving her from Neo.
Well, but Neo is working with the White Fang. It's a White Fang operation.
It kind of felt like the White Fang was working with Torchwick, and Neo was working with Torchwick.
They are working together.
Yes.
They are all part of the same scheme. They are not directly connected in the hierarchy, but they are all part of the same villainous plot.
Yes, but you could claim that, oh no, I didn't attack the White Fang. I attacked Neo. She's not part of the White Fang. Sure, it may have been part of the same, mission, but I was just saving Yang. I didn't fight any of you. I fought that person.
I guess that is possible.
I'm just pointing out that there is
a
logical division there.
That is a possibility. I'm the villain, but I have a connection to one of the heroes, so I'm torn between my loyalties.
It is pretty tropey.
That is a thing that is done sometimes. That is a possibility. I think that's pretty much it for Volume 2. I guess we'll just go over the same questions I asked you at the end of Volume 1. Is your favorite character changed at all?
Actually, yeah. Actually, now it has. I am a huge fan of Gatling Gun Purse.
Okay,
Coco.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a Coco fan now. I would not mind getting me a nice hot cup of cocoa.
Minor book spoiler. She's not your type.
Is she what?
She's a lesbian.
Oh, so am I. She's also a cartoon. Don't take this from me, man.
Well,
it's like you're like going so far into the canon cock block that it's like I don't even get to fanboy properly now. Man, I really like her. You don't get to. Oh.
Hey.
All right, I'm going back to Yang. I'll go to.
I didn't want to send you down that road, and all of a sudden, you've built up, you've got all your fan fiction written and everything. And then all of a sudden, you find out later on down the line.
Hey, look! Everybody gets drunk at a party at least once. If she just so happens to get drunk at a party and decides, "Oh my God, I'm gonna do something crazy," I'm gonna go to sleep.
Admittedly, what I know about Coco's character, I could see her doing that.
If anything, the things that I think probably
she is the kind of person who would accidentally do something like that.
Yeah, if anything, her not being my type is the fact that she clearly likes to buy expensive things, and I don't do that. Not to say they don't buy.
True.
Okay, she wants to go shopping.
She is exceedingly fashionable.
I am not a shopper.
In the books, there is literally a line where she I guess she thinks because she's the viewpoint character, but. Basically, she does not trust anybody who she feels does not know how to dress well.
See? So she wouldn't trust me, off principle.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter who she does or doesn't find interesting in that romantic situation. It's she would look at me and be like, "I dig your shoes. We can burn the rest of it though, including you. Take those shoes off real quick."
Yeah. All right. So Coco's your new favorite character.
Coco, as of right now, Coco is my new favorite character.
Weapon.
That,
Now that you've actually seen the villain's
masked
weaponry.
new person's sword gun.
The masked person.
The new masked Yang's mom or sister or whatever.
Okay, her multi-load sword.
Yep.
Her pick-a-blade sword.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That thing is pretty awesome.
Because what she spins is the barrel of that gun, which
Well,
means
it's
that
not,
thing is.
It's not actually a gun.
It's a sheath.
It's a sheath.
It
This is
shoots,
one.
though.
This is one case.
It's not a gun.
We haven't seen her shoot it.
Nope. This is not. That is not a gun. It looks like it has a cylinder in it because it rotates for the blades.
I could have sworn
But
it
that's-
was a gun.
You know, it has more in common with like Hawkeye's rotating quiver.
This is a different episode.
Oh
Yeah, that
shit!
was
Yeah,
the
this
last
is
episode.
No, this is volume 3, episode 1. That's the
yeah.
next episode. Yeah, we're yeah.
Well, and the one where she
It's switched
actually
over.
uses it is back in episode 11, not 12.
Hold on, let me see if I can.
Back when she was fighting Neo.
Let's see if I can back
The-
up. Here.
And
Though
all
then-
you see with her with it is her stepping up, spinning, and drawing her blade, and Neo bugs out.
Is this it?
Let me scroll down and see if it's right. Yeah, this is it. Hold on. Or, no, you know what? Hold on, no, this is the wrong one. I gotta go one more back.
Yeah.
It was
Got to
it was
go back
11.
to 11
Yeah, it was
to see
11
her
and
actually
12.
using
Come on.
anything. And then it's near the end.
That was well done, right here.
Yeah.
Uh,
I do like that her umbrella's a sword cane umbrella.
yeah.
Yeah, she just comes out with the sword slashes.
Yeah, just watch. Yep. The whole thing, the whole cylinder is just the rotating blade thing.
And then it jumps.
Yeah, and then
I don't know. I still think because when she puts it back, that looks like a gun.
it may look like a gun, but it is in this particular case, it is not a gun. It isn't also a gun. If it is, she never uses it as such. But
At least not that we've seen up to this point.
yeah.
Well, I can admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah. But that, again, that's, you know, it's a rarity, but there are weapons that are not also a gun.
Like, like Jean's sword.
Right.
Yeah.
So it looks
Or,
like
our new guy from Coffee's sword.
It looks like she combined using raw dust as well as imbuing dust into her weapons, then putting those weapons in a spinning Hawkeye-esque.
Yeah, the actual blades that she pulls out
Are
are solid
dust infused.
They're solid.
Or-
They
are they
made
solid
of-
dust? Okay. I would have thought they'd
I
be
mean,
blades smelted
they're
with dust into
they're
them.
dust blades. It might be a case of it's dust mixed with some other component that hardens it, but because they are fragile though, which is why she carries a whole bunch of them, because when she fights with them, they are fragile. They have a tendency to
like
break.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy for it, except for without the aerial gear. But
And the giants.
Those Urso were pretty big.
yeah. All right. What about, because I think we now have enough of them I can actually ask you the question, favorite semblance, favorite ability? At least since we now know the four. We know all four of the main girl semblances now. We've seen pure semblance. We've seen pure semblance. We've seen
What about
sun semblance.
did we see Ooblex?
We have not seen Ooblex semblance. No. We've seen Glinda
Unless it's
semblance.
drinking coffee and running around really fast.
The only adult semblance, or the only teacher semblance we've seen so far is Glinda's. Yeah.
No. Nothing.
Don't have a particular favorite.
Not this round.
No?
All right.
All right. Well, that's
because it's still there's a lot of the same stuff that it's just a little bit more rehearsed, I guess. So like you get to see a lot more of the semblances that you've seen prior. They're
doing more with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They fine-tune their ability with them.
Yeah. No,
to a degree.
I mean, I'd like to say I'd like to think that Jean's ability to go, no, I think something's wrong. I'd like to think that has something to do with his semblance, but I doubt it.
Oh. I mean,
his semblance is probably something like, look, I don't need a belt.
When it comes to like superpowers and that in fiction, for me, I've always been a real devotee to the telekinesis thing. If I could ever have a superpower myself, my answer to that question is always telekinesis. Just because I think it's the most practical.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not limited to moving things like that big. You can actually like tear down trees and shit like that, like go full like Jean Grey, Magneto scale telekinesis. That's pretty freaking useful.
I think at that point I would consider you borderline reality bender.
Yeah. Well, because like here, Glinda,
she puts the street back together.
Yeah, she puts the street back together. She put the cafeteria back together. Her semblance is the first one we've really seen that. The others all use it in combat. Hers is the first one we've seen used in a non-combat role.
More domestic style.
She uses it for a practical day-to-day use.
Right. I mean, her semblance really. I mean, aside from the fact that she can smack you with it.
Yeah. All right.
Which she did to those couple of Grimm that tried to jump up. She was just like whip.
Yep.
All right. So, how did you think? What did you think about Volume 2 as compared to Volume 1? In general, I know obviously the animation is better.
I feel that in season 2 they started working on a lot of the details of accentuating the female essence of all these characters. There's like, for instance, if you look at this scene, her boobs are they're so much more defined. And I know it sounds silly, but I mean it's like one of those things that like on all the female characters, they've really made it a point to like touch up the accents.
They've really improved their character model.
That's a thing on the character models in general.
I'll compare it to who's the monkey guy?
Sun.
Yeah. Look at how cut Sun is.
Yeah.
He has been. You could shred cheese off of that man's negative body fat percentage, and he's been like that from the very beginning. Whereas now it kind of seems like they're doing that to the or the female characters, but they're doing it in a. It's like they're putting just a touch more emphasis on the sexuality of the characters. Not the sensuality, but the sexuality.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like they're running around in lingerie, but suddenly it's like, oh, well, let's practice the shading on her chest.
Yeah. I guess I can see that. I mean, as a broader part of improving the character models and all that in general. Yeah.
But that's one of like the per character that I've noticed, like really noticed. I've also noticed that you can tell that they're trying to play with the fluid engines of things like hair or flowing fabric. I've noticed that their characters before, they were very blocky. They they would run and their dresses would move, but their dresses would like...
there were times during the first season where you commented, the back of their hair is moving, but their bangs are rock still.
Yeah. And then there were a couple points where it seemed like with I don't know, there were a few ponytails that were just like they would turn their head And the moment they do, instead of their ponytail going, it's...
Yeah, that happened with Pyrrha a couple of times.
Yeah, it's still not perfect.
Right.
They're improving, but it's still not perfect.
It's just funny that there's no corgi that's popping out of her ponytail.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I know we've talked about. Obviously, we've had a lot more to talk about this volume conversationally. 'Cause the story has really started.
You started tackling storyline as compared to High End.
You have enough setup that they can get on with the story.
Yeah, we're not just setting up the characters and the little character moments. We're actually getting into the narrative.
Picture.
We're fighting the villains. We're actually actively fighting the villains, and we're getting the villain side of things. And
to be fair, they're not really fighting them. They're mostly just thwarting.
They're
mostly fighting the mooks.
They are engaging. They are attempting to stop the villains from doing their villainy thing.
Villains doing villainy.
Yeah.
Villains got a vil.
Mm-hmm. I think. I mean, those are the two big obvious ones. The fights. Personally, I think the fights are as much as I love the Nevermore Deathstalker fight from Volume 1. I think the fights here are definitely. The mech fight
train sequence is really
good.
satisfying.
Yeah, the mech fight and the Yang Neo fight are still two of my favorites, even after 8 volumes. Yeah, on my end, but
they're not bad. There's some fights later on that I
there are better fights. There are fights that I rank higher, but these hold up. These fights hold up.
They're still good fights.
Despite the
honestly though, anything in the first 3 seasons that Monty did hold up to some degree just because of my own personal nostalgia.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's always a degree of if you've been watching the show long enough, there's a nostalgia for anything in the Poser engine, just because. But yeah. All right. Any final thoughts or theories on where we're going from here?
Ending the way we did, the villain's plan is still pretty vague. I think now I think not only is it the long game of your primary villain group is going to start unraveling, but I think now they're also going to start tackling the you all have to face your own demons while being hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's still this mysterious festival they're all talking about.
Well, yeah, the Vital Festival that still has to happen, and the tournament that they've been.
I've watched a lot of animes, so this tournament, I'm expecting a fight after. Oh, you won!
Yep, tournament.
Look, you were clever doing that thing when you realized they couldn't do that other thing.
A lot of the initial fan base related it to the way Naruto did a certain story arc in there. There's other series that have done story arcs similar, but
anime tournaments. Tournaments.
It's not about what they do; it's about how they do it, and RWBY does it well.
Yeah, I will say the tournament arc does get mixed reviews for a number of reasons. We'll go over when we actually see the tournament fights. There's some people who find the tournament very interesting, and they like the constant fights because it's a lot of fight episodes in a row because it's a tournament arc. And then there are other people who are like, "Oh my God, this was some of the worst crap they've done." The views range that far on it. It's kind of and we'll get into when we get to that. We will get into why people think that and all that. But it's.
Although really, your reaction's the only one that matters.
Oh yeah, and so I am curious to see how you think. We'll think how it goes because in a lot of ways, in some ways, it's like a typical anime tournament arc. In other ways, it's not. So at least from based on the anime I have seen, and admittedly, I have not. I know I haven't seen anywhere near as much anime as Bill has. I don't know how much you've.
I binge watch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode and for Volume 12 then.
I will interject here. For those of you guys who enjoyed our reaction of the album after the first season, Our second season album reaction is going to be a little bit delayed. We're going to jump right into Volume 3 after this.
It is due to time constraints. More than likely, we will get at least Bobby's reaction to the Volume 2 and Volume 3 soundtracks. We'll have to wait until he comes back, probably in November. Bill and I may, in the intervening time, do videos where we go over the soundtracks from a retrospective angle, kind of looking at them, looking back, and seeing how some of the foreshadowing and all that kind of links into later things we can't do right now with Bobby because spoilers, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I was waving at the camera. You said every time you guys are doing spoiler stuff, I'm just, hey.
But yeah. So, but those will still happen eventually. We do plan on doing all the soundtrack reactions from here on out, most definitely. But yeah, for now we will go ahead and bring this to end, and next time we'll start on 3. So I'm looking forward to.
Very excited for it.
So yeah, that'll be it for today. If you guys like what we're doing, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, bell for the notifications. You can find us on Twitter at InfoConfused, and you can find our podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, and here on YouTube. We are Informed the Confused. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bobby.
See you later.